Welcome back. Finally into another series. It's going to be Socke versus Snute. I almost forgot, and they were right in front of me. A ZvP. The other match going on in Group D, Special versus Bly, is happening on other streams. Wardy, I believe, is covering that if you would like to go watch. And in the bottom left, another old school name. It is the Blue Protoss, Socke. In the top right is the red Zerg. It is Liquid Snute. So yeah, not casting Bly next. But I think this is just a temporary measure to catch up because of the delays. They'll take and Naruto having internet troubles, and then just delays in general. Players not being around when the other group finishes, stuff like that. I mean, ideally this doesn't take as long as they predict, but they do have to give, you know, times to people. So you'd rather be more time than less time, I guess. And yeah, that means waiting around a long time sometimes. A lot of times in there. But the point is, look at Snute and Socke going best of 3, as well as Bly and Special best of 3 happening at the same time. And then of course Group C is happening as well. I'm not sure if that was held or not, as of course that's left off with Showtime, sort of. I'm quite confused as to where we're really staying and not staying, so I don't know. I think this will go along the same stupid cat. The same path as all the other throwback names we've had so far. Broddick, Cast, Amaga. They've all been thrown up against some pretty damn good players. Snute being another really damn good player. Socke even had a point in time where he kind of came back after months of absence, and then even was doing pretty well. Like, you could see that he had a good game in him, and then he would make one fatal decision-making mistake, and then it would just be, like, for naught. I don't know what he's been like since then. That was, like, half a year ago, maybe even more. That was a while ago. So I don't know where he's at. But I do know that Snute, while he doesn't have, you know, he's always pretty hard on himself about any of his results, he's always a really good player. And if he just plays standard, I think he'd do a very good job against Socke. Roll over him even. And you get a Frankenfurter for the 16-month resub. More cat content, please. I can't tell with the cats where to sit and where to play. And, you know, it's less special the more you see it. Wardy is covering Showtime versus sort of. Okay, then. If Wardy's covering that, TaKeTV is covering this, and I think Naruto is covering Bly versus Special. Oracle opener coming out here for Protoss player. Tries to get the oval over, doesn't quite work out. And get a Days Go Slow for the 2-month resub. Did I miss anyone else? At Home Dad Gamer cheered 100 bits, says happy birthday. Thank you very much. SharkDog58 for the 16-month resub. 16 months of supporting the stream already. Thanks for the streams. You're welcome. Buck covers it up. Oracle gets in here, but Snute does know about the Stargate, so already has a Spore Crawler. Can't even get a single drone? Oh, it did get a single drone. Can't get more than a single drone. And backs off. Evolution Shiver comes down for Snute. We have been seeing a lot of Baneling play today in this matchup. +1, either really quick or just an okay timing, or just throw low drops. Seen it all. 2 oracles can be a little scary for a queen all by her lonesome. Needs the help of the Spore Crawler. Socke, of course, just taking the opportunity to go for a 3rd Nexus. On a lot of other maps, there'd be an opportunity for Snute to make, you know, 30 lings and deny it, but most Zergs aren't really wanting to do that anyways. Snute maybe even less so, as he's mostly known for his macro, but especially not on Proxima, where you do have an easier wall off and easier time defending it. So 30 lings, 20 lings, yeah, 20 lings are made, but just to break down the rocks and secure defenses against any possible adept run bys, because if there's oracles, there's usually an adept attempt, even if they just back off with it. Stasis Trap micro, pretty cool stuff. Gets 2 drones, forces the drones off of mining even for a second. Queens don't want to be caught in that either. So very effective use of the oracle. As long as it doesn't get too fancy and skip revelation, you know, you get decent scouting, then do all the stasis traps you'd ever want. Actually, as the game progresses to maybe even Hydras and so on and so forth, might want to use the stasis traps on the front lines between his 3rd and his 4th base. That has been very effective as of late. Thank you to Rares for the 100 bits as well. It's not necessarily a bit war anymore, as Solidus Dub is winning that one, but I do appreciate the bits. Oriole's getting a little bit low, now losing hull damage on that 2nd one, but 4 drones go down, they still live. 4th base on the way at the gold. Roach Warren, Baneling Nest, Hydralisk Den, Infestation Pit, everything was put down that could be put down, but only a couple are being invested into. No Roach speed, but getting centrifugal hooks. Getting Hydralisk upgrades, maybe not Patching Glands. Okay, yeah, no, doesn't look like it, so it is for that hive. Accelerating tech, accelerating economy. Snute already at 77 drones, just took the opportunity to macro and ran with it, as he usually does. I don't usually get flashing BattleNet messages, but for once I did and I noticed. Wow, Bly 2-0'd Major. That's interesting. I'm gonna watch these oracles while I fix that. It was also very quick. So I guess if I was gonna guess, you know, the quick best of 3, who wins, I would have guessed Bly. Alright, so Hive's on the way, and Colossus, well, Colossus, you know, if you really let them go on for too long and they suddenly have 4 Colossus and a nice number of units on the ground, and you only have Hydra, Ling, Baneling, then maybe you made a mistake. But that's not the only thing Snute has. He has the ability to make Infestors, but he's not going to. But more importantly, he has the ability to make Vipers. And while High Templar's feedbacking would absolutely slam them down, and that was a very big part of Heart of the Swarm, was Viper, Micro versus Colossus, it's kind of been lost, but it still exists. So as Snute realizes what the composition is, he might just make those Vipers. I mean, not only realizing what the composition is, but also the lack of High Templars, which are finally coming in now as Templar Archives finishes up. But it might just be a case of having too many units. There's not a lot of Photon Overcharges out here. It's kind of I'm not sure if he's baiting him. Oh, he's baiting him. Never mind. There's a lot of Bailings finished up. He's now into a huge concave. Force will try and come down from Socke, but he's got to retreat back. His Colossus are dangerously close to being killed for the Banelings. A lot of them take shield damage. One barely lives. Barely lives. Lings on top of it does get the kill. All of the fodder for the Colossus have basically died, however, and not all of the Hydras died for that. Just most of the Banelings. I think Snute can crash in and win. I mean, 3 Colossus micro does a lot of damage, but there's just too many Hydras. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. A lot of probes going down. Colossus goes down. There is a small counterattack, but that's being dealt with by Queens, it looks like. So no really big deal there. Socke is out of this game. GG. Oh, just kidding, it's not. Oh, gaming's in here as well. Alright, like almost everyone's in here now. Just missing Wardy. Okay. ZvP, once again. Socke got to a decent point, but it was more that Snute just recognized the situation, was like, okay, you in a macro, then I'll macro, and he just took a much better fight. Socke definitely got baited. You know, with 4 Colossus, I think he takes a, you know, smarter fight where he has a lot more information. I think it is okay. But the lack of revelation, the lack of seeing the banelings off to the right side, basically, was pretty brutal for Socke to deal with. So, an Abyssal Reef, gain over 2. The bottom right, he is down 1. It's Socke. And top left, as the red Zerg, it is Liquid Snute. Rifkin is going to be covering the latter half of the day, although it remains to be seen if that is half or a third or what, because the tournaments still is going to decide if they're, you know, going to play the last 2 groups out on stream or off stream. So definitely finishing this group. And Group C should be happening at the same time. And then Group E and F will go on next. And that's about the time that Rifkin should be awake and ready to transfer streaming. And then he will be solo casting. That's how that works. Nothing too spectacular in the early game. They're both very comfortable getting to the macro game, I suppose. Socke might throw in a curveball and go for an all-in because, well, you know, why not? Macro game didn't quite work out in your favor. And Snute has died to a couple of well-thought-out all-ins and cheeses before. He has been known to be a little too greedy sometimes, getting up to 80 drones at like 5 minutes, right, or something insane. And yeah, sometimes you die because of that, believe it or not. Yeah, running out of small talk, you know. Tele console on the way. Is this, no, last game started off with a Stargate, so this might be that changeover into something a little bit, at least a little bit more aggressive, if not an all-in. I mean, just sending out 6 Adepts will already force Snute to maybe not get up to 77 drones immediately, which is kind of what he did last game. Only took a stop to build about 20 lings, and that was it. I don't know if I should respond to this in chat or on stream, but I guess there's not much else going on, so. Robo on the way, Ling does get a full scout, that kind of sucks. Both Lings get a full scout. And Snute's, it's gonna be comfortable getting this 3rd base so far. Adepts actually get a couple of drones. 3 and then lives? That's pretty good for 1 Adept, to be honest. Anyways, someone asks if they can go and train in the BaseTradeTV house. Well, I don't know if there's like a really polite way to put it that is also very, like, you know, succinct way of putting it, but basically there's an application process, first of all, so it's not like we're the ones like hand choosing all of these guys and then inviting them over, but it is more of a case of if you're not already at least somewhat established in the scene, then the chances are very, very, very low to impossible that you'll be allowed in the house. The house is not for someone who's in Diamond League, sorry, to try and train, or for someone who is under the, you know, pretense of training but actually just wants to hang out with their favorite pro gamers. There's a lot of reasons not to let someone that we just don't know into it, you know, so. Yeah. If you can't ask me in some personal way or Rifkin in some personal way, then you're probably already out of luck, basically. And, no. Don't get asked too often. I was a little worried this would be more of a common question, because people were just like clamoring over the simple idea of it, but it's not an easy thing to be accepted into. really trying to foster the next up-and-coming talent and their abilities in Korea and outside of Korea. So Kelzer being maybe one of the success stories so far. Decent Terran for sure, constantly on the rise before he went to Korea, but now, you know, getting very, very far in DreamHack Austin. But enough about that. The Dark Shrine did finish up. Dark Templars warped in. Only 2 Dark Templars as well, as that is kind of the standard nowadays. Either 2 Dark Templars only, into 4, of course, for the Archons, but either that or into double Warp Prism Micro, which is something we saw earlier from Hearthstone, which was really cool. But just being a little bit of aggressive harassment and into a third base. Snute, not the type of guy to take advantage of this either. Like, you're pretty sure what they're doing as a Zerg player. You play a lot of ZvP as a pro gamer, so you're like 99% sure they're getting a third base behind this. And also that they're building probes for it. Although there are some tricky charged Archon all-ins that can happen from this, so you can't ever be 100% sure. But the point is, like, some other Zergs would have built 30 Lings, taken the chance, and gone across the map already. But now that there's a pylon, now that there's been reinforcements, I'm not sure he's going to be able to do very much. Roaches are taking care of the Archons over here, though, so he's going to try. Probes have to be microed at least a little bit here. Pops the overcharge, just takes the probes that are transferring. Not too shabby for a couple of Lings. Also scouts that the third base is down and that probes were made for it. Yeah, those drones were a little clumped up. Look pretty juicy for the Archons. Instead, they get a Roach. Warp Prism gets a bit of hull damage. It's always very worrying to see. Especially since there's a lot of creeps over here, so they gotta be careful. Yeah, I don't think they meant to do that. Picks it up and leaves. Charge, +1 on the way. Immortal just guarding the fence here. Hydralisk Den now. He once again went for a Roach Warren, just in case he needed Roaches. In this game he did. You know, he felt safer getting Roaches against DTs and Archons than just pure Ling. But didn't upgrade them. Yeah, didn't upgrade them. So into Hydras, into Banelings. Thank you to Dehumanizer for the 15-month resub. Coming out with the emotes. How did No Regret make the cuts? Well, first of all, I think No Regret, even without what I'm about to say, would have been in the potential. Like, you know, if he had applied and he had been really working hard to become a pro gamer, he already got his way to Korea because of that mentality, so he might have been accepted as general. But actually what he does in the BaseTradeTV house is, I mean, it's not the best term, right? But it's kind of the house mom. So he takes care of affairs. He makes sure, hopefully, that they play in the tournaments and that they aren't killing each other over there, as well as takes content. So you guys can actually get those videos of the TV house. You can get the BaseTradeTV house, and you can get the 24-hour streams. Like, he's putting that all together, so. Very awkward little move out. The sentry's supposed to keep this army alive, but caught unawares that there were just Lings waiting for him, so most of the sentries die, and Immortal dies. Warp is a little late to the party. I mean, this does, if it's done really, really correctly, it does pair up really well. The Archon drops into a very fluid macro game, into a very powerful push, and sometimes this will catch this Zerg player really off guard. But already Snute, with an idea that's happening, already taking care of some of the sentries. That's a good sign. Warpism already pretty low as well. He doesn't have any Ravagers to try and target that down, but he will have Queens and Hydras with upgrades. So I think he's good to go. And Socke's not going to even try. Just broke down the rocks, and then, I mean, he's not leaving exactly, but he's also not really committing with the Warpism leaving like it did. But he's getting the 4th base, and upgrades, and preparing for the transition to Stargates. Why do I have the Terran music on? There's no Terran here. Warp Prism still alive. Banelings take care of the Zealots for the most part. Second Warp Prism also alive with Zealots in it. Charge is done, so they're a little scary. A lot of DTs being warped in just to morph into Archons. He's still on a Templar Archives? I guess not. Eventually you want to add those in, but he's been banking more minerals than gas, so it makes sense that he stayed around for this long. But that means he won't have any Storm, and even if it does become a Broodlord versus Tempest game, it really is that Storm and Archons on the ground that makes it, like, look, you know, unfavorable for the Zerg players. Without that Storm, it's a little more difficult. So I think that's something he will want to get. Upgrades are finishing up for Snute. 35 banelings on the way. Socke trying to place down as many pylons as possible to have many with an overcharges as possible. But they're a little late. A little bit. Big Warpin, though, does pull Snute back. Warp Prism will live. Banelings have to be used. And while it didn't kill a lot, 3 probes or 3 drones, it did a very important job in pulling the army back. Socke wasn't quite ready to deal with it. I mean, you have a lot of Archives, you have a lot of Immortals, that's going to tank a lot of Banelings, but ideally you're dealing the storm damage to them, so you don't even have to soak up their damage. They just die. And that's just, the storm is way too late. Trying to get to a second Stargate, Oracle is definitely a good move to at least know where your army, your opponent's army is, but again, without that storm, I'm really quite worried. Warp Prisms are still alive. Maybe he could bring Snute back once again, but he's trying to take the fight. Only a couple of force fields left over. He uses all of them. Tries to save the High Templars, as they are still waiting to be useful with Storm, but unfortunately Nexus goes down along with 10 probes. Warp Prism not doing too much. Snute is going to pull his Lings back. Okay, he's going to pull back, but getting the 4th base was you know, kind of good enough. It's not like Socke was already on a 5th base, and this is an easy replacement, even though he's banking a little bit. It's not. He also managed to save his High Templars, and Storm is finally done. I like that he's getting shields a lot. It's a bit more of an expensive upgrade, but it affects more of his units in a better way. Fleet Beacon. I mean, Socke has the right idea about the pace of the game. Snute is on his way to Aspire and finishing up all his upgrades as well, but he's not quite at that comfortable position to get to his own heir. He's kind of desperately trying to get there so he isn't swamped by the eventual Broodlords, but really he might just be swamped by the ground army. Storm is finally available, but okay, that was decent enough. Archons didn't take too many Baneling hits, but oh, spoke too soon. Take most of the Baneling hits. Overseer not here, so that one DT that wasn't morphed into an Archon could be doing a lot of damage. Not enough to save the game, but it could be. That's one of the last storms available. Gateway's gonna start going down. Big Warpin of charge lots might just save the day, along with that DT. But Snute, of course, was still 5 bases, 67 drones. Option of Greater Spire on the way. It's still looking really good. Killed another 4th, too. Lings and Baneling's gonna be pretty brutal with +3. Did he ever get Adrenal Glands? He did. So yeah, those Lings are just gonna tear apart everything. Oh, I need to stretch. I need it. Oof. 19 more Banelings. Snute is depleting his bank every single time he runs in here, and that is sometimes a very scary thing to do, because what if you deplete the bank and don't take the fight, and you try and get to Broodlords and you don't have enough of them, and suddenly the Protoss player wins because their army was sustainable? That has happened before. And Socke is only down 20 army supply. Storms could really help that. Snute could definitely overcommit. I mean, it's dangerous if there were like 3 more storms, but he's moving in here, realizing the storms are all gone, trying to take care of the last of the Immortals. Charges are warped in once again, but there's just not enough of them. The last 2 Immortals, the last Archon. GG. And that is it for that best of 3. Now, both players do continue on, but Snute in the winners and Socke in the losers. Oh boy. Bly did 2-0 special. I did that a while ago. Showtime 2-0 sort of. Who now waits for the winner of Braddock and Puck. And I'm going to take a break while we wait for the next series to be set up. It's going to be Snute versus Bly.